Hello, everybody. It's Jules. I'm project manager with Crocoblock, and welcome to the WordPress Web Agency AI Summit. And today we have the second day of our summit. Here we are on the panel discussion on the topic, how AI affected my agency workflow. And today we have 5 honorable guests here. But before I present them, I'd like to ask you to share this video and your impressions via Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the social medias that you have. And also, I just reminding you that you'll find the links to the summit in the chat. If you want to have all-in-one summit newsletter plus brand bonuses, please subscribe, register on the official summit page. Okay, guys, I would like to introduce 5 speakers for today. That will be Mark, Eric, Kevin, Anil, and Andrew. So we'll start from the quick introduction, and we'll start with Mark.
Oh, there we go. Not muted. All right. How you doing? So yeah, my name is Mark, and you may have seen me on this channel before. I've created some tutorials on this YouTube channel, just going over different Crocoblock videos and stuff like that. But yeah, so I run an agency called Wicky Design with my wife, Barbara. We've been running the agency for right at 10 years now. We're about to hit our 10-year anniversary. We're located right outside of the Philadelphia area. And when it comes to work, what I do is I deal with more development, coding, and mainly server management for all of our client websites. And then my wife, Barbara, she deals with all the branding, design, more the front-end design type of stuff. So yeah, that's kind of my quick introduction. Over to you, Eric. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Eric Karkovack. I am a longtime freelance web developer in my 24th year of freelancing, and I'm also a writer. You can catch my work over at Specky Boy Design Magazine and the WP Minute. And my focus these days really is on WordPress and building custom solutions for it, and kind of documenting my journey in the space.
Thank you, Kevin.
Hey, everybody. I'm Kevin Geary. I am an agency owner from Atlanta. I've been doing web design probably 20 plus years now. I'm also the founder of Automatic.css, which is a CSS framework for WordPress. And I run Geary.co, which is a WordPress education platform. So I've kind of got my feet in 3 different buckets here, but happy to be here.
Thank you. Anil.
Hey everyone, this is Anil Gupta. I'm a CEO and co-founder of 3 different brands, Multidots, Mulitcollab, and Dotstore. Multidots is our agency business. It has been almost 15 years to run this agency, and we are a team of 120 at this moment. And on our agency side, we do a lot of custom and complex WordPress migration. I have 2 other WordPress product business. One is Mulitcollab, which is our new Google Docs style content collaboration in WordPress plugin. And then we have a Dotstore where we have somewhere around 24, 25 premium WordPress plugins, WordPress and WooCommerce plugins. So collectively, yeah, we have been in the WordPress space for, I've been in the WordPress space for 20 years and doing the agency and product business for last 15 years. I live in Austin, Texas. I also write about personal growth and a bunch of other stuff on my weekly newsletter. And that's how I've been experimenting a lot with the new AI tools recently.
Thank you. Andrew. Andrew, you're muted.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Andrew Shevchenko. I'm CTO of Crocoblock, which is the host of this event. And we are developing a wide range of plugins for different needs. We started from add-ons for Elementor, but now we cover not only Elementor niche. It's part of our plugins are also maybe used in bricks or even without any page builder with just blocks editor. And so we're not a classical WordPress agency, but we often works with other WordPress agencies, which are all often our clients. So it's all about me. Jules, let's proceed.
Yeah, let's proceed with the questions. Actually, we are here to discuss the main question, how AI affected not only on my agency workflow, yeah? So do you use AI tools to follow the trend? Is your personal need for your agency? Or let's go on and let's start with Mark and do the second round. Yeah, if you have any guys additional questions, just drop them in the chat. We'll discuss them. We'll add them to our Q&A session if you have any. Yeah, if we do have questions. Okay, let's go.
Cool. Yeah, so if you just watch my presentation, if not, you can catch it. It was right before this live panel. But yeah, essentially, I've been using ChatGPT a lot more these days when it comes to any sort of, complex coding situations I've gotten myself into. So in that video, I kind of gave you some examples of, I was building a complex membership website. And instead of spending like hours of searching and trying to write this code myself, I wanted to actually see if ChatGPT could handle a lot of these odd requests where I was like, grab this class, put it here, do this, do that. And I was kind of blown away, honestly, because I seriously thought it wasn't going to be able to handle it. But I learned that with something like a ChatGPT, you could throw out really complex situations unique to you, and it could kick out pretty good code. It's not always, it's like 9 out of 10 times I would say the code's pretty good. Other than that, you might have to clean up a little bit. But yeah, it's definitely affected our agency when it comes to how much time I'm saving. Because like I said, it's just me and my wife. So we don't have a team or a lot of resources to spend on a complex problem when something comes up. So that's why something like a ChatGPT has really helped our workflow a lot. I really do think that there's a lot of good tools out there. I've only scratched the surface probably with just playing a few of them. But yeah, definitely I could see it's helping our agency when it comes to, complex problems. So yeah, I guess that's it for me. Over to you, Garrick.
Yeah, I would agree with Mark. I mean, the complex coding area is really where ChatGPT has helped me the most. I can just talk about the hours I've spent trying to go through Stack Overflow or places like that with coding that isn't necessarily the most complex, but I'm not really an expert coder. So I would spend hours troubleshooting. And honestly, this has saved me so much time. Just even pointing out like a syntax error or something silly that would normally take me a while to figure out, I can, throw the code in there and it'll do the rest for me. I've even created a couple of custom plugins for it. That'll get me started. The ChatGPT will get me started with it. And then I can kind of take it from there with the foundation it's laid for me. And, I can go in, and I think it's still important to test for security and things like that after getting generated code. But it's been a real time saver. And honestly, code has been the biggest part of it for me. But I'm sure I'm going to find other uses that I'm kind of interested to see how you all use it as well, because I think that's going to be interesting to find out.
Yeah, I think coding is a big part of it. For our agency side of things, we've used ChatGPT for like a pre-research phase for projects to start collecting ideas, things that we need to think about when it comes to a client, especially if they're in a specific area, like a local area that we're not familiar with. We're doing local SEO, we're doing localized copy, things like that. So it's come in very handy there. It also comes in very handy when we're writing copy. We don't use it to write copy, but we do use it to sometimes rephrase copy. So we'll write all of our own copy, and then we can take portions of it. And if we want to, have that in, one form or fashion on the website, but maybe we're going to repurpose that for a Facebook post or a Twitter or something like that, we can have ChatGPT kind of rephrase that, even in like a different personality, and use it in these other places as well. So we've experimented with that a little bit. And then on the image side of things, one thing that's been really, really handy is AI images in terms of fixing images that are sent to us by clients. A lot of times we get images where tops of heads are cut off or something like that. And we're doing, bio cards. And it's like, well, half of them don't have their head cut off. The other half do have their head cut off. AI is actually really good at fixing all those that have their head cut off. Now they all look almost identical, right? So they're not fake photos, they're just fixed photos. And it's stuff that would take hours in Photoshop sometimes, and AI can fix it in minutes. And we're back to, doing our other work. As far as coding goes, my big experience with it, I've been big in the CSS world for a very long time, and SAS, so much so that really I didn't spend a lot of time doing any JavaScript or PHP or anything like that. And we were redesigning the Automatic CSS homepage. We put a lot of what we call like the playground on the homepage, where the user can actually interact with some of the features of Automatic CSS. And I was going to need JavaScript to do that, and I was going to have one of my team members do it. But I used it as a case for like, can ChatGPT actually like walk me through this? Can it actually allow me to accomplish this task here? And it did. It wasn't flawless. There was, some of them took 10 different attempts. It would give me some code and the logic would be wrong. And, thankfully I understand the logic behind coding, so I can just feed it back what the problem is or what's not working about it. And then ChatGPT is like, oh, okay, sorry about that, and rewrites the code. And then it's like, all right, well, let me take this and see if it works. And, I eventually got to the solution. So I didn't need anybody else on the team to actually come in and do that. So it did end up serving its purpose, which I thought was pretty neat.
One thing for us is that we haven't actually started using that many AI tools for coding. But after listening to Mark, Kevin, and Eric, that's kind of something that I definitely would like to give it a try. But we have been using ChatGPT plus a couple of other AI tools more as a digital assistant. So the goal, not the goal, but kind of like, the idea that we have internally in our company is that like utilizing all these AI tool as an digital assistant in order to get some of the things that a digital assistant like ChatGPT can do it faster, better, and consistently with the same level of quality. So we tried to apply it into different part of our operation. So one example I'll share is contract reviews. So one thing we noticed that whenever we get contracts or MSAs or NDAs from our clients, there were like few things that we always have to check into that, like making sure that our company name spelled correctly, and also making sure that there are a couple of other aspects, like our acceptable payment terms should be these. So those are some of those that manually either we will do first check before we will share that with our legal team. So that kind of helped, because the initial quality check, we can just quickly do it through the ChatGPT by training it. So let me actually see if I can share my screen quickly and show you how we are actually doing that. So here, so on my screen, what we did is with the prompting, and when it comes to prompting, we also try to provide as specific details and instructions as possible. So here, what we did is we basically trained one ChatGPT room with all the instructions about our company, like, how our registered address should be and stuff like that. And then next time when we get any particular contract from the client, we'll just copy and paste. So then ChatGPT can just basically give us an idea about, hey, your company name has not spelled correctly, your governing law, you want it to be Texas, but in the contract is something else. So this was very helpful, that this is something usually we would do manually, but now we can just copy and paste any contract and it will do that preliminary check and give us what are those areas that we might have a little disagreement. So this way we try to apply it into multiple different parts of our business in order to improve our efficiency, productivity, and quality.
Yeah, Andrew, you are muted.
Yeah, I remember this time. It was a bit of preparation. As for us, as I said before, we're not a classical example of an agency, but from the technical side, which I present as CTO, our workflow is close to any web agency processes, and at the moment, I can say that AI tools changed our workflow a lot. It just speed up it a bit, like you guys said before. And in our case, it's also mostly related to the code. For example, we now often use Tab9 tool, tab9.com. It's an AI assistant to write in code. It will not write code instead of you, for example, like ChatGPT can do. But it really could speed up the writing of code. I could compare it with code editor snippets, which we used before. And I don't know, maybe you also used before in your editor. But these snippets you don't need to set before use. Tab9, by using some internal AI tools, trying to predict and autocomplete any part of the code you're trying to write. And often it's really useful, especially for some common cases. Just one small example. Not so long ago, I was need to write in the code array of day names of the week in shortened format. I just write first day, and Tab9 suggests me to autocomplete whole array with all days to left. So as I said, it's a small tool, but it's really speed up such small common cases and during the day it could be visible saving of time. Also, we often use the ChatGPT itself, and we use it for prototyping. And I repeat myself from yesterday live talks, but it's really good case. It's writing prototyping for whole PHP class, for example. Also we now trying to write and go to automation testing with Selenium framework. And we need to write a large number of test cases to cover all of different use cases for our plugins. And we use ChatGPT to write prototype of the test to just give them the ChatGPT some text input. For example, I need to go to this page, find element, click on this element, wait for some time, and then after something on the page it happens, find another element and check if it equal to if text of this element is equal to some text. And after this, we just need to check the code, of course, and paste our data into correct places. And last example, which we also use really often, and it's mostly related to our Ukrainian location, and that its language is not our native language. Before ChatGPT, we have big problems with naming of options in our plugins and describe these options. Someone who use our plugins could find easily a lot of examples of what I say right now. But with ChatGPT, you can just write in details what your option do. You can give the ChatGPT as much input data as you need, and just ask him to generate a name for this option and description for this option. And for example, give you 5 5 variants of the name and description. And after that, you can just select the one of them which you think is most better for, it's best for your particular case. No, so I think at the moment it's all, but I hope in the future we will do more, and especially I hope for prototyping thing, because ChatGPT really could help you to generate some structures of the data, structures of the logic, which you can expand when you know to do with them. Hope you understand what I mean, because a bit.
So yeah, can I summarize that? Yeah, all you guys just have this positive impact of ChatGPT, not ChatGPT, AI on your agency workflow. Yeah. So
Yeah,
no drawbacks.
definitely.
Yeah, no cons.
I wouldn't say there's no drawbacks. There are times when it's not very accurate, but that's just, I think that's to be expected. I wouldn't expect any of this technology right now to just do everything for me. I think it's there to be a help more than, to do all the hard work. It's going to give us a start, and then we have to still go out and do the rest of the job.
Like someone
And
mentioned,
actually,
if you're using it for Stack Overflow or something, I mean, how many Stack Overflow posts do you have to go through before you find the right solution anyway, right? And so it's easier to just ask ChatGPT, test it, and then ask again or refine the input.
okay. And the question was like, how did it started? I mean, did you follow the trend, or did you decide to optimize something in your workflow and in your agency, or that was like interest?
For me, yeah. So it was, like I said, I come across pretty complex stuff sometimes when we build, especially like a membership website. And so I just, like I said, I tested it out just a few months ago, and I was like, holy crap, I don't need to call my developer friend anymore. I have a friend I could bounce ideas off or some code once in a while, but I don't think I have to bother him anymore. So that's a good thing. I know he's probably liking that, but yeah, I think for the generative stuff, images and content, there's a lot more gray area because you got copyright laws, especially here in the US. It's like a whole other thing. But at least for me and our agency, I think we're just going to stick with the coding for now. That's I think where we're going to be heading. But yeah, we're excited because I know that with Jet Engine, I know you guys are integrating a lot of like SQL AI stuff built in. I'm really looking forward to really playing around with that and maybe make some tutorials for you guys. How about that? Yeah.
Yeah. So I really started this journey as more the writing side of my career. Everybody was talking about ChatGPT and Bard and these things. And so I decided to see if it would make compelling content, if it would be something that actually did what people were saying it was going to do. And so my first real experiment was to try to write a rudimentary WordPress plugin with it. Basically, it was a dashboard widget that you could use to put some important links or other information for your clients on there if you're a freelancer or an agency. And within about a half hour, I had a working prototype. It was not completely perfect, but I was actually able to go in and refine it through ChatGPT and say, okay, well, you gave me a nice text box here where I can fill out all this information, but can you make it the WYSIWYG editor, for example? And it actually was able to implement that in another iteration of it. So that kind of just got my interest sparked as to, well, okay, what else can I use this for? And when I started running into some complex coding issues, it just seemed like the natural fit to just throw in the code, and all you have to do is copy and paste it in and ask, okay, what's wrong with this code? And it will tell me, well, this isn't PHP 8 compatible. You have to, change this and this, and it'll spit out an actual, snippet of what needs to be changed. And so as I've kind of come across more problems, I just started using ChatGPT for as my first attempt at fixing it, rather than going down a rabbit hole with Google. So to me, that's kind of where it is now, that it's just like the next step for me when I have an issue. I can't always solve it through there, but it seems like 9 out of 10 times it does what it needs to do, and I can move on with my day.
For me, it's like two main things. It's keeping my thumb on it, right? Because it's new and it's going to continue growing and it's going to start powering everything. So it's like part of our job is like we have to be up on what's going on in that world. And part of that is experimenting with it. So, hey, what can it do? What can I throw at it? And let me see what the output is. And if it can help me with something in my work, then that's great. And I'll continue doing that. The other side of it, though, that's been mostly helpful is education. And so an example of that, and this is actually in the coding aspect of things, right? So if I want to learn JavaScript, or I want to learn PHP, or I want to learn some language that I don't currently know, the last thing I personally want to do is go take a course. Like, I don't want to just, all right, watch video number 1, video number 2, and then, it's, for me, it's like always the examples in the courses are like, I would never do that. I would never build something like that. This isn't relevant to me. And so I'm having to learn with somebody else's examples and all this other stuff. Whereas with ChatGPT, it's almost like, all right, I want to learn JavaScript. I can come up with a scenario that I actually want to execute on. And I can go piece by piece, almost as like an instructor is sitting there that I just ask questions to. It's like, I want to know about this little specific aspect of it. Explain it to me. Because not only will it give you code, it'll actually explain what the code is doing and how it works. And so for me, like learning a new language, that's the best format for me, because I can do it on my own time. I can do it in the order that I want to go in. I can do it with a scenario that I really care about or that interests me. And I don't have to wade through a bunch of nonsense content. I can just get to exactly what I want at exactly the right time. And so for me, that's been like the primary use almost.
I guess for me, it started more as a personal experiment. So I'm more focused on like optimizing and improving the efficiency, or maybe another fancy word would be the productivity. So that has been something that I always focused on and passionate about. So I've been playing around a lot of different tools, even before AI tools or ChatGPT. I continued to experiment with any softwares or tools that can improve my personal productivity and efficiency. And I think that's how kind of like I stumble upon the different AI tools, and more specifically ChatGPT. So my early days, it was more like a fun experiment. So I would just throw some random questions like, hey, summarize this book, and tell me a story. And so it started with like that. And eventually I realized that like, wow, this tool is actually way more powerful than just asking about telling me a joke or a poem, So that's when I kind of started to think about the different use case. And eventually I was using it for travel planning. So whenever I go to anywhere, I would like try to ask ChatGPT like, hey, this is where I'm going. This is my number of days I will be there. This is a country and place. And then I was like, what should I pack? And what are the things that I need to remember or keep in mind? So it was interesting, like how, like probably it will take 10, 20 tabs, the browser tabs for me to kind of like search them individually, go through that. But getting all that in one place, a nice, concise summary of what should I pack, what are the things that I should be aware about. And there are some items that I was surprised that I didn't thought about it, but then it's like, oh, wow, based on the weather condition during that time, it will suggest me what I should pack and bring with me. And another, so that was like that. And then eventually I continued to use that more on improving my personal life. I will again quickly share my screen and show another use case of how I've been using that. So yeah, so this is then another use case in the early days where it's like, all right, I have this breakfast that I consider as a healthy breakfast, but that was my own labeling of healthy, but I wanted to make sure that it is true. So what I did was like, it's like, all right, this is what I eat as a breakfast. And then I ChatGPT that based on my age and health goals, what do you think, that if this breakfast is healthy or not? So I was surprised the way it breaks down all the information that why yogurt is good and banana and all those different things that I was putting in my breakfast bowl, and then even like getting the nutrition values, so this is all will take so long in order for me to determine, or I need to have someone who like a nutrition expert or someone to consult. But getting this information like less than 10 minutes, that blew up my mind. And another thing was interesting that I put in a cereal brand and just their website. I didn't tell like any information. So you went to that website and gathered all the information related to this particular cereal brand and like calorie counts and all other ingredients. So that's kind of like how it started for me, and then continue on the trend. Then I decided that we can use this tool for a lot of other sort of research within the Multidots and our other brands. And so that's how we kind of like now using it for different purpose. I think our primary goal is to content creation. So we have a lot of different content that we create for all of our brands. Plus, a lot of my team members, English is not their primary language. English is not their first language. So that's where also the ChatGPT and tools like this helps in order to confidently and accurately, write and express themselves through the writing.
No, Anil, thank you for a great example of using ChatGPT. Really not think in this way before. Before this, I mostly use it just for my job. But this case about nutrition is really good because I also often have interest in these things. If we return to the initial question, as for me, like you guys said, for me it also started like an experiment and mostly related to our work. For example, what we can give to our clients by using ChatGPT. At first time, I don't even look to use it for me, for helping, for example, to code, because I thought, for why? I know all the things, I can do this by myself. But when I tried it, understand that it's really faster, because even if you know how to do something, you don't do all the things every day. Today you do one job, tomorrow some other, and for job you done yesterday, you can return in 2 or 3 months later, and you can't remember in 1 second how to do it. You wasting some time for this. By using ChatGPT, you just can gain its word good for me. It's representing for all using ChatGPT. You can create prototype of the code you need and just adjust it for your needs. And when I understand how it can be helpful for me in everyday job, I really was impressed by its power.
Yeah, and we have a question concerning Croco product right now. Signed up Studio Koch asking, would using ChatGPT be more logic than individual integrated AI tools of Element and Croco? For the moment, at least. Andrew, I guess it's your question because Croco is mentioned.
Yeah,
You're in charge.
If I understand correctly, the question is what to do better, just using ChatGPT or implementing some part of AI tools into some product, for example, Crocoblock. And it totally depends on how it's implemented. If you just getting what ChatGPT gives to you, if you just translate question of client to ChatGPT, gets the answer and gives the client in some interface in the admin, maybe it's not make sense. But even in this way, it speed up for client working process, because it's less interrupted. He doesn't go to another UI, not pasting the request here, not copying the answer, pasting it again to his website. But as I said, even in this case, for speed up the process, it maybe makes sense. But if you modifying the client request and modifying response in some way, it totally makes sense. For example, we not so long ago presented AI SQL query generator. It's not perfect tool. It's not always generate correct query. It's I think 80% request to generate query will be correct. But it's not we not just translate, we not just give the ChatGPT open AI API the client question, and do not just took the answer and paste it into the screen. We modify also a question and we modify answer. In other words, you can't get the same result if you just asking the same thing in ChatGPT directly. So for just such cases, when you doing some job on your site with the data you get from ChatGPT and with the data you get from the client, it totally makes sense to build such tools into the some product. I don't at the moment talk only about Crocoblock. It may be Element, or it may be Cadence, who talked about their AI implementation example yesterday, or any other product on the market.
Okay. Thank you, Andrew. And we have a question from Anthony, probably Mark or Kevin would like to answer. Do any of your developers that sells a product to speed track some highly requested feature that would take time, but with ChatGPT you can implement and test it rather quickly?
I guess I'll take it first.
Mm-hmm.
No, we haven't used it for this yet. I haven't really had the need to. There's a few complex things in Automatic.css. We just implemented a dark mode functionality, or really a color scheme functionality. And for me, there were 3 different approaches that we could have probably taken for that. And honestly, I didn't even think to ask ChatGPT. I just went off and built all 3 of them and just kind of weighed the pros and cons of which approach. And I don't know that ChatGPT would have been able to give me. I should probably actually go back and ask it now and see what it comes up with. But it just didn't cross my mind. It didn't cross my mind. But I think that it could definitely be a use case going forwards.
Anybody to add anything, or just we close this question? Any opinion additional? Okay, we can head to the next question. Have you noticed the rise in clients' requests to use the AI in their projects? Actually, probably Mark, Eric, Kevin. We can go rounds if you want to.
Sure. Yeah, I can give you a use case. So if you watch that video right before this, it was I recently created a membership website. It's like an online memorial or obituary creator. So the client had another website where they saw a use case where this other company was using like an AI obituary creator. And so they wanted to see if I can add that to the website. So of course, this was like 6 months ago when this stuff was even, it's crazy to think how we're not even a year into all this AI stuff. And just 6 months ago, I was already getting my first request, but that was a pretty cool use case. I didn't end up building it out because it was going to be way out of scope and everything. And she actually found another company that already kind of found that hole in the market. So somebody already created an online obituary AI creator that tied in with WordPress pretty well. So I was kind of blown away that somebody already created that. But I was going down the rabbit hole of like, all right, do I want to create this from scratch? Do I want to, do, OpenAI API calls and learn how to integrate that with, Elementor or Bricks or whatever I may be using? So it's definitely something that we've only had the one case so far, but I could see in the near future, if clients see this on other people's websites, they're going to be like, hey, can I add this to ours? So it's kind of like, what do we do at this point? Because I want to go down that rabbit hole, like I said, of like wanting to learn this whole new skill set and add it as like a feature. So it's kind of unclear of what we're going to do, but I could see how this might be something that is going to be coming up more in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I have not had any requests for AI just yet. I have talked to a few clients about it with regards to some chatbot possibilities. I know there are products out there that will like go through your website's documentation and kind of feed the AI chatbot off of that, which I think is kind of interesting. I think for a lot of my clients, that may be where it ends up going more than anything like any sort of text generation. But I definitely see, possibilities down the road that we currently aren't using. But as far as my personal case so far, there really hasn't been much in the way of requests just yet.
Same here. I've had precisely 0 requests from clients. I know they know what it is. They ask me, what I think about it, things like that. Is it, they'll ask the philosophical question of, is it going to replace you? Do you think it's going to replace you? Things like that. They've never asked about using it for anything though. And
did you, Kevin, what did you answer to that question?
Oh, I said no, it's not. It's not going to replace us. I'm very confident that it's not going to replace us. I didn't tell them why. I didn't say because you guys you don't know what questions to ask or what you should be doing or what kind of output you should be getting. But no, I don't think it's going to replace us. I speaking philosophically, I think if I had to predict like what's going to happen to the market, I mean, we already see a giant influx of AI for everything. It's like the AI everything phase. So it's AI can design your website. AI can build your website. AI can do your marketing. AI can write your copy. AI can, and so I think what's going to happen is it's going to be that kind of slingshot effect where we're going to go into a phase where everybody is doing AI for everything. And then people realize the limitations of it and the accuracy issues and the this and that and the generally poor quality that you're going to get out of all phases of it. And then there's going to be like a retraction where, what I think clients will start saying is, don't use AI to design my site. Don't use AI to write my copy. Don't use AI to do my marketing. Don't use AI for all the things that you might be using AI for behind the scenes. I can see that happening faster than them asking for more of it.
Yeah, and I would add real quick is so when I mentioned that to the client that, we could build out this obituary creator if we wanted, the minute that I said that every time someone's going to have to, every time they prompt it, that's going to cost you money, that kind of put an end to that real quick because she didn't quite understand that, hey, there's API calls and there's going to be limits. And the hardest thing to say is, all right, it's going to cost X amount today for a prompt, but what's it going to cost a year or two? They could 5x their 6x their cost per prompt. So it's hard. It's so early days to even try to make a business around this, I would say.
Yeah. For us, not a lot, but some of our enterprise publishers that we work with on our agency side of the business, they reached out and wanted to build and offer AI-based chatbot for their website. So they have somewhere around 100 plus websites and content. And so, yeah, they wanted to kind of like create this one chatbot or tool where all their visitors or the customers or the users of their websites and products, they can easily find the answers or the information they're looking for. The project is still under production, so we are not able to launch it yet. But I think that's one client request that I see. But we also saw further interest from other clients. It didn't actually materialize. But I think the challenge that we have been observing is that when it comes to like creating a business, like if you want to create a tech business out of AI tools or something, that might be interesting. But if your AI is not your mainstream business, your main primary business is something else, and you want to offer AI tool as a utility or as an accessories, at that time, I think there are a lot of ethical compliance and legal things, because AI still at this stage is not 100% mature. There are like still issues with that. And that's kind of something that we noticed that some enterprise clients that were initially interested in and excited about building, and offering some tools to their customers and the users. But when they read some headlines about some ethical arguments and issues around the content that AI is generating, they decided to wait for the AI tool to be mature. So that's kind of something that we have observed. Like some are really excited and confident to jump into this, and some want to wait and watch and have the whole AI tools and to be a little bit more mature before they can seriously think about offering that as a tool or accessories to their customers and the users.
And in our case, we faced some requests from the client to implement in some AI into the products, but it's not so often. In our case, more interesting situation when clients use AI by themselves and got some incorrect or not totally correct answers, used this answer on their websites. These answers do not work totally well, and the clients go to our support with the question why this is not work. So as for me, it may be a big concern of the AI tools in the future if people will be too much rely on it. It will be just believe into the ChatGPT says them. As for now, in our case, it's not really not a common problem, but this case happens sometimes, and support got hard times in the situation what to do. From one side, it's not a problem, for example, of our product, but you need to help client in some way, and support to need to dig into the code ChatGPT generated to the client and find what was wrong in this code, and it's take a time from some other requests which may be related to some real bugs in the product.
Yeah, that's a good point, because we have the relatable question concerning how to keep quality over AI usage increasing. I mean, people really rely on the AI too much, and then they are trying to resolve these issues with the products, and they do not know where to go. So in our case, we have this, when they're trying to use with Crocoblock products, so they try to go to our Crocoblock support. And what about you guys? So when do clients really rely on the quality of the AI answers, AI solutions? How do you resolve it? How to keep quality?
I guess I could just go over. So with us, we just, like I said, we're just kind of more using it for coding. So the client will never kind of see that type of stuff. But at least with whatever code I do get from ChatGPT or any of these other tools, I definitely do lots of testing. I'll go ahead and you can just straight up ask it, like sometimes, where did you get, this code from? What's the resources? How old it is? So at least in my case, yeah, the quality is always just going to be, does it work? And is it actually, good enough on the project? And I'll purposely try to go ahead and break the code too, just to see. And then you could even sometimes ask it, clean up this code for me even more. And, it can sometimes do that as well. So yeah, that's in my case. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the quality is where it is really going to matter for people, because I think somebody said earlier that, people are going to, I think, Kevin, you talked about how there's going to be kind of like everything AI, and then people are going to go running back to, doing things the old fashioned way, I guess. I think that's going to be a key. Like, we have to find out what AI can do to help us. But again, the quality is still up to us. We cannot, give our agencies away to ChatGPT and say, here, run my brand for me. There has to be a reasonable expectation that this is a tool to help you. This is a tool to maybe get you unstuck from a problem, but it is not there to, necessarily do everything for you. You still have to run your code through some testing. You have to, like everything I write on there, I have, or it writes for me. I test on a local server first. I run a few different versions of PHP on it, just for example, to make sure that, nothing is going to break there. But, and with WordPress in particular, so much is made of like sanitizing data to keep it secure, to make sure that user input can't be, malicious. So I think, you have to go back to the references on that stuff. You can't just rely on AI to be correct every time, or else, your business is probably going to get into some trouble at some point.
Yeah, I would agree. I tend to see it kind of like, if I had to give a metaphor, so, it's like website animations, right? It's like very subtle and put in the right places is very beautiful and nice. When you load the site and it's animations everywhere and things are going in all different directions, that's a little too much. We gotta pull back. So I think you use AI in very strategic use cases, and things will work out really well. And of course, like, most of us are talking about code. So the code works or it doesn't work. It can be, still audited for security purposes and efficiency and things like that. So yeah, you want to put a human set of eyes on it afterwards, just like you would do if you hired a developer and, they submitted code. It's like, you got to do the same thing. We're not just going to blindly trust it. So that's very important. I think our industry, especially on like the marketing side of things, a brand can't say, hey, develop a brand voice for me and let's make all of my copy match this. And there's just certain things that are left to like a human brain. There's some areas of AI though that like if I was a photographer, like a commercial photographer, even, for example, small mom and pop shops don't have $10,000, $20,000 for like a huge photography campaign for their products and things like that. Chat GPT, or not just Chat GPT, but just generative AI in terms of imagery is going to get to the point where I think that they can, feed it a few photos of the product and then say, I want a professional product shot lit like this in this environment, and it spits it out. And, at that point, there's no quality control. It's, I look at it and I either love it or I don't love it. If I don't love it, I can generate another one, and I can do that all day. I'm not paying tens of thousands of dollars to a photographer to come in and set up everything and shoot it. Whereas an enterprise client is still probably going to want to hire that photographer, right? So it's almost like, what area of the market do you serve? Like, if you start serving the higher end clients, those are the clients that are going to want humans doing a lot of this stuff. If you serve lower end clients, those are the clients looking to, hey, how soon can I get AI to do some of this stuff for me? And for them, it's like, all right, well, the girl in the photo doesn't have 7 fingers, so I'm good. That works for me. So they're good with it. So if you're a photographer, and if we're using the photographer example, serving that side of the market or that end of the market, you could be in trouble. Absolutely. But if you're serving enterprise clients who have the money and want to bring you physically on location and get everything dialed in exactly how they want it, they're not going to use AI.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, the way I see the quality and AI is more from the perspective of like, I'll get the quality of the output quality of ChatGPT or any AI tool will also depends, or probably highly depends, on the quality of my input as well. So that's kind of like one thing that I see, that all the AI tools, they are smart digital interns, so they have a capability, like probably the knowledge and the information these AI tools has, that's way beyond, like any other tool, or just as in general as a human, like, that what the number of things that I can remember, the AI tool has way larger and bigger memory of data and information. Now, some part of it is also depends on that how quality prompts I'm writing and how quality questions I'm asking, because that also depends on the answers that I'll get. So I'll go ahead and share my screen one more time. And because I just actually learned this from a workshop I attended a few months ago on prompt engineering and prompt writing. Probably we have heard that a lot. But there was a really great example that actually stick to me, which is specificity is the secret when it comes to getting the quality output. So here is like, give me an investing tips, so then you'll get like a lot of different investing tips. It's like, give me real estate investing tips. The more specific we become, give me real estate investing tips for beginner. Give me 5 real estate investing tips for beginners. And then beginners with $10,000 to invest. So like the more specific we become and the quality of our prompts and the question, that also will determines the output quality. And of course, like, once we get the specific output the way we want, there might be some level of fact check that's required, but I would say 90% of the quality we can control. We have a control on that by providing a more quality prompts and inputs.
That is one area though, right there, where I would say, how much can we trust the answer that ChatGPT is giving? Because I know, if I ask ChatGPT, give me 5 real estate investing tips for XYZ, they're not getting those real estate investing tips necessarily from a real estate investor who's been doing this for 50 years. They're probably getting those tips from a BuzzFeed writer who ranks #1 on Google. So there's that side of it where it's like, I got to know, all right, I got to know where ChatGPT, like, I mean, I already know, but I'm talking about the user. The user has to know that they're not going out and finding real estate experts to get those answers from. They're just getting them from anybody and everybody. Whoever has the best content on Google is probably where the answer is coming from.
Yeah, I also agree with you guys that AI tools, it's just a tools. And the quality depends on the person who uses tools. For example, like Kevin say, if a person asks about real estate investments, if he asks this, he must understand that the answer will be generated by some most popular results, not the best results. For example, if you're asking about the code, you must understand how this code work, at least in general, and how it should looks like. And what example? I forgot example what I wanted to show. And as also as Eric said, that it's not replacement of some person. It's just a tool, and the human always should be under this tool. So the responsible for the quality is on the human who are asking the correct question at start, and then checking the answer at the end. And all the works I do between these stages, he can do better or worse, but the human who uses tool should be responsible for using. For example, it's also the thing I mentioned yesterday on our live talks. If you give some person a hammer and this person hits with the hammer on his finger, you don't blame the hammer, because it's not the blame of the hammer that someone hit his finger with this hammer. Hammer is just a tool. It depends how you use this tool. So from this side, I think it's good for all of us that the responsibility for the quality of the results will always be on the human.
Good point. Thank you, Andrew. And we have several questions more. We as Sign Dev Studio Koch, should we expect our customers asking for lower prices because they will understand we are more efficient? I have Dutch customers. That's kind of a joke. Probably you know what does it mean. Who has something to add here?
Mark? I'll take that. Oh, I'm sorry, Mark. Do you want to go first?
No, you can go.
Yeah, this is something I've actually written about. You know, how is AI going to change client expectations? If the client thinks that all we do is sit there all day and put a prompt into ChatGPT or Bard, do they devalue what we're doing? And I think that we still, I mean, even to build a website, a WordPress website or whatever, you're still going to need the expertise and the experience to just, you know, ChatGPT is going to be there to maybe help you solve a particular issue, but it's not necessarily going to make your work any easier. You still have the same challenges. You still have the human relations part of it where you have to work with your client and, you know, figure out their needs. The AI can help you, you know, implement some things, but I don't think it should necessarily cheapen what we do in the industry. Honestly, I feel like if somebody is going to request a discount because I may or may not be using AI, then I probably don't want them as a client, because they're going to find, you know, flaws in everything that you attempt to do. So I think, you know, AI it should not, you know, devalue us as experts in our field.
I think going back to what I said before about it's going to be an everything AI market for a while, I think that people who are going to heavily use AI are already doing the discounts themselves. Their clients don't even have to ask. They're using AI to try to undercut the market. And which is why, you know, budgety clients are almost going to get what they deserve in that regard, or what they ask for in that regard. And that's why there's going to be a pullback as well. You know, anytime like a super cheap automated, you know, solution comes into the market and slashes prices, it does attract a lot of attention out of the gate, but then people start to see the chinks in the armor, and then they, you know, slowly pull back to the way things used to be. And it's actually I don't know, an advantage for clients that aren't heavily using AI, that are just using it here and there sporadically to, you know, answer questions and kind of get the job done a little bit faster, a little bit better, but not putting that out as like the main process of the work that we do. It's going to end up being a huge benefit to us, those of us who continue to do mostly manual human brain related work.
Mark, Anil, anything to add to the question of the price?
Yeah, I mean, I've been making websites, you know, since actually the 90s. So the fact that I could spin up a website so quickly nowadays, that doesn't devalue the work that I've had to learn all the way to get to this point, you know, because yeah, I used to hand code every website, you know, from scratch. I was even working on websites before CSS existed. So now I can create a website, you know, so quickly, but that's because I have so many years of experience. It doesn't devalue it at all, I would say. If anything, you can use it as like an add-on in some cases. So if anything, it could be something that I add as an extra service in the future. Who knows? Yeah, but
yeah, I would say, yeah, the argument depends on person on the other end, the customer, right? How technically involved they are. So sometimes I feel like the buyers or the customers who are more concerned about solving the problem, and it doesn't matter for them like how you solve the problem, what tool do you use, AI, manual. I want this problem to be solved because it's costing me, $1 million, or it can make me $1 million. So then at the time, I think it doesn't, that's from my experience, like it didn't matter what operating system I'm using, what computer I'm using. Am I using a Pro or am I using the MacBook Air? For them, it's more like, help me solve this problem because it's costing me money or I'm losing an opportunity. But on the other side, there are some specific types of buyers, who are pro using the tools and who knows, like, okay, if we use solution A, it's gonna take this much time, this much resources. If you're gonna go use solution B, it's gonna cost you this much time. So then there will be a little negotiation there. I see an opportunity for them to negotiate because they know how you actually are creating the solution. So that's where I see, the argument on the tools. And I'd say this scenario has been in existence even way before the AI, so some of the customers that we worked in the past, when they know like, oh, WordPress, actually it's a CMS, it already has all these plugins, it already has all these different things, then it should not take this long. And for some clients, when we're like, oh, this WordPress is going to take 6 months, and they'll be surprised, like wow, I thought it's gonna take years. So that's how I see it, like how informed or involved your buyers are in regards to these tools and their outcomes. I think that's where the argument of the valuation of your time and effort will also depends there.
Yeah, I'm agree with you, Anil, and I also think the value of your work, it's not the tools, not in the tools which are using in your work, but in the problem which you solve for your client. And client also pay you not for the tools you used, but for the problem you solve. And if your client, my client, anyone client tries underrate you based on the tools, he can do it not just on AI basis. For example, like you said, he can say, you're using WordPress, you do not do much of work by yourself, so I will not pay you more than this sum, for example. So it's not, and I hope it will not depend on the tools in the future, because now we have an eye. In 5 or 6 years, we can have another tool which could do some job even more better than an AI today. But again, even in these 5 years, client will pay for the person who solve their problems, not for the tools. They will pay for the solving of the problem. So I agree that's not the reason for underrate someone's work.
Yeah,
I think I think we can look at other tools in the market too that are non-AI and see how those played out in terms of clients not needing us anymore or wanting a discount from us or something like that, right? Like when Wix or Squarespace came along, that was billed as like you could watch the commercials, like any business owner can now make their website on Wix. And it's like, look how easy it is. Look how the smile on this guy's face. And then what happens in practical reality is that the business owner hears about Wix or sees that commercial, they go sit down, they create their account, and then they start using Wix, and they get hours and hours and hours and hours and hours in. They have more of an appreciation for how hard this actually is, and that they can't get to the result that they actually want to get to. And then they come knocking on our door and they hire us, and then they end up paying, what we ask them to pay because they just don't want to have to deal with it anymore. And by the way, it's behind schedule now, so it needs to be done ASAP. That's kind of, and they're going to have a very similar experience if they think AI is going to build their website for them or write their copy for them or whatever. And if they hire a budget agency that heavily uses these tools, the first iteration of work that they get back, they're going to be like, what is this? This is not what I need. This is not what I wanted. And then it's going to go through another round of iteration. And again, it's going to be the same experience, just in a different packaging, right? And then eventually, this is what's going to lead to can I just get a human to do this? Just like when we call customer service, nobody wants to talk to the machine. We just want to talk to a human. It's going to be the exact same experience or very, very similar. And that's why I don't think we can use it where we see fit, but we don't have to worry about it undercutting us or replacing us or anything else.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, I lost my train of thought on that. I'm sorry. Basically that, the human factor, I mean, we can get to know our clients and understand their needs. Can AI do that yet? Can AI ask them the right questions? Can AI give them, options based on their budget or their goals? Can AI even learn what their goals really are and understand them? So I think that's where, the human side of things comes in. We have to, we're still kind of leading the charge on the project. AI is just there to, provide a helping hand where needed. If you're going to try and do everything with it, you're probably not going to be happy with the results.
Yeah, one thing I want to add there is, if we see from the customer's perspective, right? If we think from the use case where if they think like, oh, I can also use the same ChatGPT and same tools that you as a web agency, you guys are using, and I can do it faster, better. That's like Wick's example that Kevin, you said. I agree that, that's where they will learn their mistakes and they will appreciate the efforts that we collectively as an agency and digital, shop owners. But on the other side, I also see that let's collectively as a market, like digital agency business, if we look at that, right? Like if we all are using the agency tool one or other way and it is helping us improving our efficiency, productivity, with the less resources and less tools and less time, we are able to create more output, then chances are eventually, the whole market will start like reducing their cost down, because then they will feel like, so when at some point, maybe 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, when all the web agencies start using all these tools and they feel like, okay, now it's helping me save a lot of time and it's improving my profit margin. So and we can kind of like pass it more to our cost. If that's something that I have seen, historically, that the more efficiency it improves, the more competition comes into the picture. The more competition comes into the picture, they try to reduce. The first thing they try to do is reduce, like compete on the price, and that's where I see it might be possible that they collectively, like whatever the hourly rate or base project price might get down, and that's where that's something that I also wanted to add there.
I think it's also very possible where it's almost like the more money people make, the more they spend, right? So it's a situation where if you look at websites from 2007, I mean, go back and look at websites from 2007, right? They're way more basic than they are today. Like websites today are a lot more intricate. And so what happened is we got more efficient with like page builders and things like this. We got more efficient with writing HTML, or there's Emmet, or, the IDEs are better and yada, yada, yada. And the CSS is much more advanced. And, so over time, we've become more efficient in all of these areas. But instead of just building basic websites way faster, we just make the websites more intricate, right? It's like we can do more things now. And so we spend time making better websites. They're objectively a lot better than they used to be. But they're still expensive, right? Like the price, I would say the prices actually probably went up for websites, and especially because the value of the website, all the things that it can do for a business now, and the extension beyond the website of, it is like the central marketing hub for a company. Now agencies are saying, okay, now we have expertise in these other areas in terms of SEO and PPC and Facebook ads and TikTok and YouTube, and we're going to help you in all these other areas. So it's almost like the bucket just continues to get bigger. So yeah, the things that we get more efficient on, we don't even think about that much anymore. We just have new problems to tackle. We have like new things that we can do that they're still going to be paying for and potentially even paying more for. So yeah, that is a good side of it. Efficiency is a good side of it, but I don't think we have to worry about efficiency bringing our prices down or our total ticket sales down or anything like that, because we just are able to now shift our expertise and focus to bigger tasks.
And also one more example, I just during this discussion projected the situation onto myself, and for some case not related to the IT sphere itself. For example, if I go with my car to the car service, and on the car service someone say me, I can check your car and do all the job with my hands, I can check your car and do all the job with help of some AI tools. Personally, for me, I even pay more for the second person, because it's from my point of view as a client, he can make more complicated job than first one with just his hands, because he has more advanced tools and can do more advanced job. So maybe it's even the reason to pay more for this job.
Alrighty, guys, and we are trying to finish our just perfect panel. I just so enjoyed this discussion, really. That was so vivid and so straight to the point, and so many points to cover for web agencies. And I guess that it is insightful for our viewers, from our clients, for your clients. And so we covered what questions we covered: the prices, tools, is it trend or not, the client's requests, features. Well, your personal stories, how you come to AI tools. That's really good. Really thank you for this. And I hope that guys will share these videos with the impressions via Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, anywhere, guys. It's really cool panel discussion. Thank you for this talk. Was really glad to see you here and to hear you.
Thank you.
And have a nice day, evening, morning, whatever you have. Papa. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.